You don't give a damn.
We're not doing the video, Christian.
We're back for episode 12 and made it through 12 weeks of this. You guys have tuned in for 12 weeks. Thanks again for tuning in. Got another special one for you today. My name's Christian. We got Omar and we got Chris. Omar, you're muted, by the way. Well, this week, what happened this week? Feel free to drop in the comments what you think happened this week. And we can go from there. But man, to break down, exactly, there's a lot of emotion in the country right now. A lot of emotion, a lot of angst, pent up emotions, feelings, and a lot of just chaos. So this all. Let's break it down chronological order here, Omar. Run us through the Georgia Senate runoff races here, because I was hitting you up throughout most of that time going on. Omar's out. Back in. Here you go.
Okay, am I on?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, everybody. I am in a house with bad Wi-Fi right now, but we'll make it through. Okay, so going back to January 5th, it was the Senate runoff with a lot of moving pieces happening. As you all probably know now, the two Republican senators that were incumbents lost their races. Raphael Warnock will be going to the Senate along with Jon Ossoff. Jon Ossoff's term is for 6 years, and Raphael Warnock's term will be for 2 years because that he is fulfilling a former senator's expired term. What I'm hearing is a lot of it was blamed due to people feeling that their votes were not going to be counted because Trump said it was rigged. What do you guys feel about that?
I'm kind of in a somewhat of agreement. I mean, I would say that the number of people affected by that, by Trump and others like Lin Wood saying that don't vote, and then Trump didn't say that, but Lin Wood did. I would say the number is over zero. So it had an effect. You have, I mean, do I have the exact number? No, but there were enough people, or there were people definitely who were affected by those kind of sentiments who said they're not voting, and it showed. I mean, Georgia is a couple years ago, you would think Georgia is a Republican state, a safe Republican state, and now it really doesn't seem like that.
Christian, what do you think?
Lin Wood being crazy and kooky and everything like that. I don't know how much. The whole thing about this is that I don't believe in the Twitter world having that much of an effect on real life voting and what makes it. Lin Wood on Twitter tweeting off stupid stuff, I don't think that translates to votes. I don't think Twitter ever does. You have the craziest woke outrage mob and the craziest conspiracy theorists you'll ever find on Twitter, and they retweet and do the craziest stuff. I don't think that translates to votes personally. I haven't seen it. If the world of Twitter controlled our elections, who knows where the heck we'd be in right now. It doesn't. They don't really vote. It doesn't have much of an effect on what's going on. What I did see, though, is that it was very convenient that they go run just like election night, November 3rd, and they stopped counting the votes.
2 cents on it.
They just stop counting votes and say they'll get to it later, and then just magically numbers shoot through the roof. Again, I mean, does it matter? Does it really matter if you're just going to let them cheat. It doesn't matter. They can do whatever they want if you don't fight for it. It doesn't matter. And the people just cashing in and throwing in the towel like that, that's on them. So a lot of people are let down here. A lot of people wanted a free and fair election. They haven't been guaranteed that. People just want to know that it was done right, and they can't even be assured that, and that's a shame.
Yeah, everything needs to be done right, but from what I hear, Raffensperger prides himself on running a tight ship in that Secretary of State's office. I honestly think if we campaign correctly, because this is how we should have campaigned, and the senators should have said, okay, we personally believe Trump lost, because they did. And if you actually read between the lines, they believe Trump lost. So if you believe Trump lost, but you want to be a check on Biden and Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, making sure Chuck Schumer does not get the majority leader position, then you run that way. But it wasn't that. It was a plethora of things. It was Trump didn't lose. It was now we got to save the Senate because Trump didn't lose. And they're saying he lost and things of that nature. And then you throw in and I'm going to say the president does have some blame on this issue. Reason being, he did not sign into COVID relief. I know it was a terrible bill, but at the same time, he could have retroactively bill to Congress and said, "Hey, let's get this pork out of it. I'm going to sign it. Let's get the pork out of it." The defense bill, he could have, he shouldn't have vetoed it. He should have sent another bill to Congress removing that. You can veto a bill and you can retrospectively send a new bill. There is some blame to go around. Everybody should be blamed. The state party should be blamed. Apparently, they haven't been working for years. There are counties like Cherokee County, who used to be 78% Republican. Now it's 63% Republican. That's a big drop off if you're talking about overall state numbers. Same with Columbia County, which is near Augusta, Georgia. So Columbia County used to be in the high 70s, low 80s. Now they're in the 60s. Next time, it's going to be in the 50s and 40s, and we'll lose the county eventually. So everybody deserves some blame, and we've got to be reflective about the entire process.
No, I think Mitch McConnell had it all planned out pretty well. I think I know where he wanted to shift the blame, and I think a lot of people are putting it that way towards the president and others. Mitch, I don't like him. I think they're all slimy. They're all scummy. He knew exactly what was going on. Him and Nancy holding hostage on the COVID relief, and a lot of Georgia voters said that was the big point in how they were voting and the swing voters and why they voted that certain way is because of the COVID relief, and that was getting held hostage, and they didn't like that anymore. They were fed up, and there's a certain person that they blamed for it.
And Mitch deserves some blame.
No, I'll agree. He deserves more than the president does in this situation. I think he deserves much more. These people play these stupid games, political games, and they play politics with our money, our livelihoods, our small businesses, and everything. And it's just a game to them because they sit up for 6 years, get paid $300K plus special interest and everything like that. They just gamble away. It doesn't mean anything to them. What does Mitch have to? Mitch doesn't have any obligation to fight for us anymore. He just got elected again in a really safe area. That guy's going to be there probably until he dies. Slimy.
It is a terrible situation. I think Mitch McConnell does get a lot of blame, but like I said before, in my opinion, everyone should get blamed. Chime in some more for us, Chris, before it becomes me and Christian over talking to each other.
See, you guys both know I'm not the biggest fan of the Republican Party. We've had those discussions, and God, man, does this it's just, we talked about this weeks ago in December, and it kind of feels like a big, like, I don't know. I don't want to say I told you so, but God dang it, the Republicans just did not come through with this. The GOP did not come through with this. They talked the talk. They had so much infighting, so many people blaming each other. It just did not feel like a party. It did not feel like a unified front going at it, where the left, oh my God, like, even though, I mean, you have people like AOC trying to work with Nancy Pelosi. Well, not trying to. She voted for Nancy Pelosi. They're all on a unified front against Trump because they truly believe, or some of them truly believe, the dumb ones believe, that Trump is like the devil reincarnate. Like, they really believe that he is evil and they have to fight, and they're fighting the good fight, where I don't think that all Republicans believe they're fighting the good fight. They believe that they're fighting the fight to get rich and to get that cozy seat where they're going to be making all that money and they're not going to have to fight anymore. So it really, you can see the passion in the party die. It just does not seem there. And we have kind of hit a really big low. The party is just, I know we're going to talk about the future of the Republican Party, so I'll save my comments on that, but it's just, it's disappointing. It really is.
No, the Republican Party essentially right now looks like it's fractured. We're going to go into that a lot, here later. But yeah, I mean, the ground game did what they did on the ground and everything. But if you don't make any adjustments from election night to now in regards to securing elections or making sure things are, the way that you want them to be, and then how can you be surprised when the same thing happens again that happened on election night when you don't really make any changes? You shouldn't be surprised at all about the result of what happened. God,
Very true.
You shouldn't be surprised at all. And it's a shame. People deserve better, and I hope they get better because they really do deserve it. And that's my last thoughts on this. If you guys got any more, feel free.
I'll just say this: I don't like the Senate choices.
That's a good point. That's a good point. The candidates.
I'll say this: the people have spoken. And sorry, I keep now. Again, the Wi-Fi is very crappy here. But what I'll say to this is the people have spoken. Apparently people, and this is what a couple of voters in Georgia told me why they voted for Warnock and what's his name, Ossoff, over Perdue and Loeffler. And they're supposedly Republicans. They said, this is the only light we can see at the end of the road. And I said, why do you say that? You're voting against your own interests. They said, look at what they represent at this point. Not necessarily Trump, but they represent, they don't even represent it. And it's not a fight against the establishment. It's to repudiate crazy. They just see dysfunction in the Senate. They see dysfunction in Congress. They see dysfunction. They see some dysfunction in the White House, even though they said they voted for Trump. These voters I talked to, but at the same time, they want the craziness to stop. And while I disagree that voting for Warnock and Ossoff will stop the craziness, they've had their say. The people of Georgia has had their say, and unfortunately,
that's such a lame reason.
We have to abide by that.
We're gonna, in order to stop the craziness, which means they screamed it so loud.
I agree.
And banged their fists on the table so dang much that we just did what they wanted to because they threw a tantrum. Essentially, is because it's too dysfunctional for them because people are throwing tantrums everywhere that we're just gonna go ahead and just let them do what they want because we don't want to fight anymore. That's what it sounds like to me.
I agree with that. I mean, Republicans have been kind of the belly up side of politics for a long time. They do not fight. And again, I kind of believe it's because the left, as wrong as I think that they are on most issues, they really do believe that they're combating evil. And when you feel like you're combating evil, you will fight with all that you have in you. And I don't think our party does that. I don't think that the conservative movement does that. So
Interesting.
The Dems, they lock up and unify
But you're right.
very quick. They lock up and it doesn't matter what it is. This is the first time I've ever seen in a primary they had so many candidates, and then they just started dropping like weeds, and then they all, oh yeah, we're going to support the candidate. Like right away, they all just backed like that. 2016 GOP primary, yeah, right. Even Ted Cruz at the stinking RNC wouldn't even tell people to vote for Trump. At the RNC, we wouldn't even do that. The Democrat primary in 2020, everybody's just like, yep. They all solidified behind Orange Man Bad, and they were all in. The GOP can't go all in like that. And I'm not going to say it's like the worst thing in the world to have diversity of thought and everything like that, but I play for a team, dang it. I play for a team. I'm not an official. I'm not here to call balls and strikes like everybody wants to call balls and strikes. I'm here to win, okay? I'm not the umpire. You spend your time on the sideline umpiring, you're going to get left in the dust. And I feel like that's what we do way too much. And I'm gonna bring this up again. I'm gonna say the same thing again in this next topic here, but just beyond belief. I'm done. I'm done with that whole thing. Oh well, we got our individual, and your moral superiority led you to lose an election. Libertarians that voted for Joe Jorgensen need not speak. Yeah, not needed right now. I'm gonna say it. Not the input isn't needed right now. I'm gonna be that person, but it's not needed. Man, all right. Moving on. January 6th.
We don't even have a topic line for it, huh? It's just January 6th.
Oh, it's a full day, man. It was a good full day. It was a good day. I mean, for the most part, I thought it was a good day. It wasn't what did Chuck Schumer and a lot of people say it was the second coming of Pearl Harbor, second round of Pearl Harbor. Yeah, I don't think that was quite it. Very disgusting to say about it. I gotta say that was terrible. But Omar, can you walk us through the morning?
Well, what happens every 4 years, obviously we elect the president, but Congress has to certify and these results. They come together in a joint session held by the sitting vice president, no matter if they're reelected or not, and the Speaker of the House for the new Congress. So Congress has already been sworn in by this point. And they certify whatever the states have certified as their results. What happened this January 6th was went into depth a little bit more. It was, to me, it was chaotic. What I saw was chaos. I did see a lot of mad and hurt people, and their voices are valid and need to be heard. But at the same time, you had peaceful protesters and you had chaotic folks. You had a lot of peaceful protesters, but you had a lot of chaotic people. And at the end of the day, my thing is, I think violence is never the answer. Nobody should have been violent.
All right, I'm gonna ask you both this question. You and Chris, let you both respond. I'll let Chris respond first. Did you see this coming?
See, honestly, when I was talking to someone about January 6th, about the what were they calling it, the Million MAGA March or whatever they were calling it, bringing everybody together, I'm like, I did not think that Trump was going to walk away that day as the winner. I did not think anything was going to change. And I said, you get 1 million people willing to travel across the country to go to DC and support the president, whether they are patriots or not. Out of those million, you are going to have people who are upset. You're going to have people who are going to cause issues. I did not think that people were going to storm the Capitol. I did not think that people were going to end up dead. I did not see that happening. But I did see maybe a car set on fire, maybe some trash cans thrown around, maybe some people fighting. I saw that, but this went way above my expectations, and that is not a good thing. This was awful. It was a disgrace. There's a lot of people who are talking about how, you want to talk about 1776 on the 5th, but on the 6th, when we do it, you have a problem with it. Yeah, because we've spent the last year as the conservative movement denouncing people for doing the exact same thing. I mean, we've talked about this for a year. And so if you denounced Black Lives Matter for doing the exact same thing, then you are a hypocrite. So it's just, all I'm saying is that I saw it coming, but unfortunately I had more hope for the conservative movement. I didn't think we were going to go this far.
Omar, weigh in.
Yeah, these folks' voices are valid. And I'm saying everybody's voice is valid. If you're an American citizen and you have the right to vote, your voice should be heard. Your voice is valid. What is not valid is you going and running amok, acting like a fool. You just can't do that. Storming the Capitol building put a it put a stain on our constitutional republic, made us look bad in front of the entire world to think that one man. Now, yes, I voted for Trump, and I'm going to defend my vote for Trump because I vote on policy. But at the same time, I am not going to go storm a Capitol for somebody that does not know my name, does not know my life experiences. And at the end of the day, when he leaves office, he's not going to care as much. That's me personally. I mean, is Trump going to call me and pay my student loans? Maybe he will. You know what? You never know. The Lord works mysterious ways. But at the same time, do I expect that? Hell no. I'm not going to go storm the Capitol just for anything. Just one man. Our Constitution, our founding principles, what made this country great throughout history, is that democracy and having a republic, and that freedom and liberty and justice for all is more important than one person or one party or one ideology. It's about all of us, and that was not represented today. I mean, not that was not represented on January 6th. I was appalled. I was shocked. Yeah, like Chris said, okay, a couple of cars being set on fire, I could see that mess. You know, that happens. That happened with BLM riots. That happened. You know, but this, it went. BLM riots did go in Minnesota and in California and other places. It went that far. We can't have the more high ground if we keep on doing this.
All right. So here's my hot take of the week, and my hot take of the week is very in contrast to most of my coworkers, people that I know, people that I've seen post on social media. One of the first things that I'm going to say about this is that people are turning this into like it's Charlottesville again. I don't see it at any contrast like Charlottesville whatsoever. In contrast to the BLM riots, these people didn't destroy private businesses. They didn't loot buildings. They didn't burn it to the ground. They did break some windows. They broke into a federal building that should not have done so. Okay, I get it. They do also have some sort of entitlement to that building. They do pay taxes. Good to acknowledge that part at least. Not the greatest thing. No sitting senators, anybody like that were hurt. Very unfortunate when lives are taken. It's always a tragedy that lethal force had to be used. The feds shot a woman. Apparently several others. Not the greatest thing ever. One of the things that I'm not liking that I'm seeing so far online is from conservative groups. Not going to name names or anything like that. I'm not that person to do so. But releasing statements on the events of January 6th against, apparently, MAGA people, conservative Republicans, whoever they, the couple hundred people that stormed in the Capitol, whoever they might be. Some people say it's Antifa. I haven't seen any evidence necessarily to suggest that. But they're making statements condemning all the actions that happened on the 6th. Yet these are the same people that didn't write any statements condemning the actions back in June, condemning the actions that consistently go on in Portland, condemn the actions when people are shot and killed for wearing a red MAGA hat at any point in time. But they take their time and the audacity to write statements after January 6th. We break a few windows, we bust in the Capitol building. And I have a big problem with it. I believe this is why we don't win much. But the fact that we're so quick to call out our own side more than we call out the opposition when things like this happens. And I'm not saying to go ahead and condone everything like this. And I'm not asking for that. But I'm also asking people to stand up and keep it even. Stop Dan Crenshaw out here just ragging and ripping on everything like that. That guy's not a team player at all. I'm sorry. I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not the biggest fan. He goes out there, and these people are already jumping ship. And if you couldn't see already, from Crenshaw to Cruz to all those candidates and the things that they were saying and how it was all working out, these people are geared and poised to already run in 2024. That was exactly when I saw that come up. I'm like, these people are wanting to run already. These people are like throwing their hat in the ring by their statements, the way that they make these statements made. And so my whole thing about this being, I don't see it as a national disgrace. I don't see them killing people's livelihoods and burning them to the ground. I don't, a national disgrace. 50 table broken through windows. I don't know. Somebody actually stole the podium. I can't remember if they actually did that. That photo was kind of funny, but I'm not gonna sit around here and act like it was the most heinous thing I've ever seen in my whole life, because it's not. Because private citizens weren't beating and bludgeoning each other out there, like I've seen previously in these past few months, lighting stuff on fire. And I do hold us to a higher standard because I believe we are better than them, 100%. I believe we still are. Because I don't think what's happened, these transpired these last 6 months holds any water or anything like that. And compared to what happened yesterday, I don't think they're comparable whatsoever. And I didn't weigh in on my social media at all with the events that happened, in June, this or that. I might have talked on here about it, and I didn't weigh in on what happened on January 6th. I weighed in here. I'm going to keep it consistent with how I do it too. But yeah, these people that want to go above and beyond to appease all the other people that are upset for some reason, those people don't care. They just wanted a good reason to point the finger at us and say, yep, look at them, rioters, looters. Oh, look, that's a real group of people right there. They were just waiting for this to happen for the longest time. And so I'm not going to go ahead and just give them that, oh, yeah, you guys are right. No, they're not right. They never were right. A couple hundred people doesn't disintegrate a movement of millions and millions and millions of people. And I saw this happening a mile away. When you tell 74 million people that voted for the president that they're Nazis, that they, that this country is awful, that they get beaten up, they don't deserve rights and all these things. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think, honestly, is going to happen? Do you think they're just going to sit down and take it all the time? Some people are probably fed up. I can understand why they're fed up, why they've had enough. No, I don't like political violence by any means, but people are going to go get theirs. To act like we couldn't see this happening. And some people, how could this happen? How could this happen? Where have you been the last 4 years? Turn off Fox, turn off MSNBC, turn on citizen journalists out in the streets. Turn on Elijah Schaffer, slightly offensive. Go out there and look at Drew Hernandez and Lives Matter. They're out there when buildings are burning, people are getting shot. This stuff is real, man. It's real. And that's my big rant for the day. But, man, I've had it. I'm tired of weak people. I'm tired of people that just, it's just nonsense. I can't deal with it because I'm not going to compare it to that. And, again, I play for a team. I'm here to win. And the whole we can all get along now after being 4 years. I don't know if we all can get along. And I do think it's going to get worse before it gets better. So I think everybody's got to buckle up and get ready for this because we're in for a hell of a ride. Excuse my language.
See, I would I just want to make a quick response to that. Now, I'm not saying when I'm saying that it's disappointing and what happened on the 6th, then whether or not however many people in that crowd were Antifa, in the Capitol were Antifa, there were people in the Capitol who were Trump supporters, who were conservatives. Now, they are not very good conservatives, in my opinion, because we are better than them. We are better than the left. We do not incite political violence. We do not go attack the police. It's just not what we do. It's just not in our mindset, or it's just not what we do. And I'm not saying that Black Lives Matter and what they did is comparable or equal. I'm saying that those that called out political violence those months ago, but participated or condoned this, those are hypocrites, because that is still political violence. Whether or not it's the severity, it's political violence. You are trying to change minds, trying to have your way done through violence, through breaking into the Capitol, through intimidating our elected officials. And I am the one who hates elected officials. I do not like any of them. I'm the one who I don't understand. I'm the one who's I do not want the government in my business whatsoever. I do not enjoy any of these politicians. They're all scummy. They all want to do what's best for them. They don't care about you. Like Omar said, they don't know your name. They don't care. And I'm not out here calling for them all to die, though, or calling for us to like storm the building and get the guillotine out. Like, it's just not what I'm for. I'm for going through the legal processes and making a difference that way. And I think now, and we've talked about this like in weeks past, now the way to make a difference is through grassroots and change it yourself. Get off your butt and go do something. Start a campaign, run for office, and do something, because this is how we're going to win. And that's what I'm going to say to that. That's just my clarified opinion.
No, definitely. Have you seen that video on Twitter where they're saying that like the cops let the people into the Capitol?
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know. Do you think they let them in?
I mean, there was a clear video of them moving the barriers, waving people in. Now I don't know, like my tinfoil hat, I don't have it on too tight, but what purpose? Who? Like, I need somebody who's, maybe Alex Jones can explain it better. I need somebody who's really good at conspiracy theories to tell me who gains, what's happening, who is in charge of the police that are gaining from this, basically making conservatives look terrible. I'm not sure. I have no idea. I know the Sergeant at Arms of the Senate. He resigned after this. Basically, the head of security for the Senate, he had to resign. Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham called for his resignation, and they got it. I think that was yesterday. So that's somebody who lost a job. But I mean, willingly. I mean, he should have. People got into our Capitol building. That's pretty ridiculous if you think about it, that people were able to kind of waltz right in. I mean, you could see videos of just them walking in.
Yeah, historically, people used to be able to just walk into the White House, like back in the 1800s and everything. Well, I mean, until people started getting assassinated, then that became an issue, But like, yeah, federal buildings used to actually belong to the people. People used to be able to just walk on in and say what's up, like all the time. Can't really do that so much anymore. It's kind of lame, but some people always ruin it for all of us. So.
Exactly.
All I'm gonna say is that and Christian, I'm not saying that this is the representation of MAGA, because it's not. That what happened on the 6th was not an accurate representation of MAGA. But I do believe people were upset and people were hurt so much that they went and stormed the Capitol, but that was not the right response. So I'm appalled we as conservatives allowed it to go that far, and we have not done anything to not quell it, but we have to deal with ourselves. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, how are you gonna talk about the speck in someone else's eye when you got a whole plank in yours? When we talk about the left, we've got to examine ourselves first. There's an old gospel song that says, sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine. Let's examine ourselves first. Let's examine our problems. Let's get ourselves right so we can really have the moral high ground. I still think we have more of a moral high ground than the left. I still believe that, but we still need to examine ourselves. That's all I'm saying.
That's the thing. That's what I think about the moral high ground, is that it doesn't help us win any sort of elections or actually get me standing with the people whatsoever. Having good, moral foundations and reasoning is very good, but also it doesn't appease anybody that absolutely hates our guts, that thinks ill of us, anything, regardless of if there had been a march January 6th to now. I don't think anybody's.
Well, who says we're appeasing to those people? But who says we're appeasing to those people? You can't please everybody.
We call out the right 100 times faster than we call out the left. We fight each other way harder than we fight the left. I believe that with my entire heart, my entire being, 100% that the right does that every single time. 100% of the time. Just to score points with the opposition that they're not getting. I believe it. I do believe that.
I mean, it's probably because a lot of conservatives believe that conservatives are going to vote conservative no matter what. And we've seen it in this election that is not the case. And I know people want to call fraud, and I believe that this election was not 100% honest and fair, but I don't think that there was enough to make a difference. But so many people did not vote for Donald Trump that voted Republican down ticket. Why do you think that is? It's because that a lot of Republicans see Donald Trump as just not a good candidate. They did not. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine voting for Joe Biden and then still voting Republican down ticket. That makes no sense to me. But there were plenty of people. Yeah, there are plenty of people that did that. Plenty of people, and we need to just take that into account and remember that the conservatives need your attention as well. So all those politicians out there, maybe you should pay attention to the conservative base as well. Sometimes, I mean, it's tricky. Politics is tricky. You got to go back and forth, try and gain new voters, but also you have to remember that you have those that your constituents, those that voted for you, those that you represent. You have to pay attention to them as well.
Boom. That transitions right into this. The Republican Party right now, it seems to be very fractured. And to be honest with you, I'm okay with it because I think it's time to burn the thing to the ground and get going on something real. Because what we've seen in the last couple of decades is not great. It's been pretty garbage. Not gonna lie, I think it's been pretty garbage. I'm not gonna go into my whole Ronald Reagan rant or anything like that. I don't think it was that great, And even then, it just going until now. I think that it's time for a big shift to happen. These certain things,
y'all just rag on Reagan and Bush and
because
Bush
they were not
Jr.
good.
They weren't exactly the greatest things in the world. They weren't God's gift to man.
Policy-wise, they were pretty decent.
I don't know. Reagan put a lot of black people in prison.
Compared to the black people carrying at the Capitol, I mean, we're going to go into that.
Oh, hold on, y'all. I didn't hear most of what you said.
You can go ahead, Chris. I don't want to go to the Reagan talk. I don't want to go into the Reagan talk.
Real quick, I would just say, they were not. That's just my pet peeve with Reagan. Conservatives think he's the second coming of Christ. I mean, the guy was not that good. He was not that good. He had terrible drug policy. That's my biggest issue with him, is that he basically initiated the war on drugs, him and his awful wife, and it was just terrible. I'm not a fan.
You don't like Nancy?
I do not. Just say no. It's awful. It's awful.
Nancy loved those horoscopes. She loved those horoscopes. In fact,
I'll agree. I can agree, Chris. The whole drug thing was not the right way to go, especially when it was proven that there were suspicious characters that usually don't live in black communities coming into black communities, selling the drugs to the drug dealers, and those drug dealers are selling it to poor black folks. I totally am with you on that. I will say I have always been part of the statesman, and I made a big statement on Facebook today, and I shared it on Instagram as well. I am a big part of the statesman's part of the Republican Party, and I'm not ashamed of that. I am in the middle of the Bush wing and the Tea Party wing, which probably the Tea Party wing looks like the Bush wing because of Trump. But at the same time, it's those Republicans that ended the Cold War. It's those Republicans that have stood up for freedom since the day FDR got elected. They've been part of the pushback. It's because of those type of Republicans that we can have these new Republicans, that we can have a Trump. It's because they fought then for us to fight now. Bush has been fighting for years. If you do some real intel on Bush and what all he brought to the party, the people will really see that, they shouldn't be ragging on him. Now, of course, Bush made mistakes. He made a mistake with the Iraq war and bringing us into more foreign entanglements. I didn't like that. And my biggest pet peeve with Bush was Hurricane Katrina. Because here's my thing. Do I believe Bush is a racist? Heck no, Bush is not a racist. Heck, he loves Michelle Obama. That man is not racist. But I will say this, if a natural disaster with the Kennebunkport, Maine, which is where the Bush compound is, that's where their family gets together every year or whatever. If a natural disaster went in there, would he have sent buses and the freaking National Guard? Yes, he would have. He all he did was fly over New Orleans. Yes, I'm still mad at Bush for that,
Also, No
but
Child Left Behind wasn't great.
I still love the guy. I still think he was a great president. I think he made mistakes, but those people created a Republican Party that was substantial enough for this. Now John McCain was a letdown because he didn't have fight. Mitt Romney is a letdown. They are not the same as the Bushes. You can't compare the two.
No, it's in regards to that, it's the whole thing is that there's people still in this day and age, people that I know that still believe that going back to our founding on the best conservative president in the world, Ronald Reagan Bush 84 is going to win this next election. Like, that's not the case. It's been shown that's not the case anymore.
True.
People want something more relatable. They don't want that anymore, and that's not what's going to get the job done anymore. Trickle down and tax cuts here and there, and no, that's not exactly it's the top pressing issue for people. Their top pressing issue is how they're going to feed their families and keep more of their own money, and live in safer communities. What are we doing about big tech censorship? The big war with China right now. Legit, these people are bad people, very, very bad people. And with Beijing Biden in there, we're going to be in a world of trouble now. Now, who are we going to elect to fight that's going to run against them to say, no, we're gonna put the clamp down on China. We're not going to let that happen, and not just say, oh, it's a free market and my iPhone's cheap and that's a good thing, because a lot of people do believe that. I'm not a big fan of that, and that's where I branch off from most people. Sometimes in the conservative movement, but there's a major shift happening, and there's dissidents and there's people jumping away, and that's why the Republican Party is fracturing, and it's you see it breaking right now, and I think it's time. I think it's really time for there to be some, some going back to the whiteboard talk and figuring out what needs to be done, but just reverting back to what we've done in the past, I don't think that's going to be getting the job done anymore. I don't see that.
No, policy wise, maybe not. No, we need to come into the 21st century, but taking principle, because here's the thing: if we can't take principle into the future with us, we may as well rev up the Constitution, because our founding principles were laid in the Constitution for it to stand the test of time. I think the principles of Nixon, of Reagan.
Question for you right there. Where does this go when and if they pack the courts, the Dems do in the Senate now? Where does that all go now?
Oh, come on. You really think Joe Manchin from super red West Virginia that can vote him out like this is going to pack the courts? No, he'll become a Republican before that mess happens.
I don't know, man. They unify pretty.
And he might switch. You never know. Because if he switches, he still gets to be a chairman regardless. It's a win-win for that man.
But I mean, you got to think we also have senators on our side that we cannot really rely on.
Very people.
So
true.
Even if
I don't trust Mitt Romney.
Even if Joe Manchin becomes a Republican, says I will not pack the court. Mitt Romney for $15 and a Whopper, he might switch over to the other side. Yeah, I'm just talking bad about Mitt Romney because I hate Mitt Romney, the slimy scum. But
I wouldn't say $15 in a Whopper. Maybe a steak.
Yeah, maybe a steak. You never know.
But I get it. I know we have senators on our side we can't trust, but I will say this: can y'all hear me again?
Yeah.
Am I back? It went out for a moment. It went out on me for a moment. But what I was saying about those senators who were sent for a clear reason. Suzanne Collins was sent for a clear. I don't see Suzanne Collins rejecting a lot of Republican approaches, at least for another 4 years, because she just won a 6-year term. I see Lisa Murkowski actually trying to work with Republicans. Why? She needs that conservative base to come vote for her, especially if she gets primaried. And Lisa Murkowski is in Alaska, by the way. Those type of senators, that we can't trust, we have to pressure them and put them in a position to where we can trust them. Well, not trust them, but we can. I hate to use the word manipulate, but I am going to use it here. Manipulate them into doing their actual jobs, which is terrible for me saying that, but that's the world we live in.
You got a lot of fire under their butt and get them moving. Something's got to give. What is it going to take for us to elect people to do their jobs and what their people and their constituents called for?
You got to show out to vote. Somebody is showing out to vote for Suzanne Collins. Somebody showed out to vote. I don't know if they will in a couple of years in Utah, but somebody showed out to vote for Mitt Romney. A whole bunch of people did.
How do you feel like changes in these next few elections now that voter, like people believing in the voting system and like their system of elections is at like an all-time low now? How do you feel about that? How do you feel like that's going to play into this?
Well, in 2022, do you honestly expect to do mail-in ballots?
Why not? Did you expect
do you think
that they were going to take it away after saying this is just a temporary thing? Come on.
I don't think we're going to do mail-in ballots. I don't think we're going to do mail-in ballots, though. I think we are going to go back to the standard way of voting. Now, do I think more independent people need to be making these machines? Sure.
Well, who's going to stop
them? But we need to go back to the standard way of voting, which is voting machines.
If they didn't stop it now, who's going to stop it later?
Well, if we're going to go that far down the rabbit hole, Christian, there's one or two ways you fix it. You either get both parties to pass comprehensive election integrity law, which I'm all for. That's what needs to be happening anyway. Each state needs to do it, and it needs to be a federal one for all I freaking care. But at the same time, we can either go that route, or we may as well break up and start fighting. And I'm talking about like America needs to break up, rip up the Constitution, and start fighting.
I mean, I think that
only we can have one, or we can have the other. We can't have both.
Yeah, I mean, mail-in voting is pretty easily can be removed because now a lot of those lawsuits that were thrown out because they said you didn't have a problem with it until Trump lost. And, you know, well, so in some states, I know the Pennsylvania lawsuit, one of the judges said you didn't have a problem with it until Trump lost. That was his reasoning. So now the legislature should be able to come back and say, like, look, the election's over. We are, you know, it's over. We're not challenging the results, but obviously there was fraud. We need to fix this. We cannot have mail-in voting just like willy-nilly for everybody. So that needs to be challenged by legislatures all across the country. And it's ridiculous because a lot of states, a lot of swing states have Republican majorities in the legislature. Michigan is one. Pennsylvania is another. I mean, I'm pretty sure Wisconsin has a Republican majority. Arizona, Georgia. I mean, and these are states that we lost, and this is ridiculous. It does not make sense. And I mean, we talked about it earlier. People did not vote for Trump. They voted a Republican down ticket. Why? You got to talk to them about it. But the future of the GOP, in my opinion, it's not going good. I would not honestly be opposed to the GOP no longer existing and a new party forming. Old Republicans just need to die out and go their separate ways. In my opinion, it's time for something new. It's time for something better, something that's not riddled with just interest of like filling your own pocket. So many of these people, and I don't want to sound like a super liberal, but like so many Republicans are like that. They just want to fill their pockets. They just want to be millionaires. They don't care about you. They don't care. I mean, conservatives get all offended by that when I say that, but it's true. Do you think, like, a perfect example, Mitt Romney, that man is wealthy. He does not care about you.
He built and destroyed companies, people.
Exactly. Like
Mitt Romney built and destroyed them.
So, I mean, it's time for change. It's time for change. I mean, I would love to see like a more libertarian-esque party, but the Libertarian Party sucks. the Libertarian Party is not going to happen. But we'll go more towards my ideology.
You guys got to find out who you are.
No, that's the thing, though. There is no libertarian.
You guys got to find out who you are first, Chris.
There is no libertarian on earth that knows what a libertarian it is, because you get two in a room and they argue over what being a libertarian is about. I mean, that's just what it's about. That's what we do. I'm not going to lie to you and say that. I talk to a libertarian and I'll be like, you're not a real libertarian. That's what we all think. It's just, you can't do it. It's like that Spider-Man meme where they just point at each other. You're not a real libertarian. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, libertarians or anything are going to take over the conservative movement. Not going to happen. I think a conservatarian more movement where you're going to have small government-focused conservatives wanting to come together and vote for limited government, vote for fiscally responsible policy, like more endless wars that a lot of older Republicans are for, being in the Middle East. That's something that young people are not for anymore. I think that's kind of the future of the conservative movement and the Republican Party, in my opinion. Or maybe I'm hoping. Maybe I'm just biased because I'm hoping.
Me personally, I think there needs to be a healthy mix. Do I think all of these old Republicans need to leave Congress? Heck yeah. It wasn't meant for you to have a fucking career. Oh, forgive me, Lord. I knew at some point it was going to slip. I knew it.
We're going to have Chris edit this and get a beep in there or like cut that out. But we're going to fix that.
There you go. But that's my problem with politics. It was not meant for you to have a freaking career. That's what I should have said. Y'all, everybody forgive me for that. It slipped out, I swear.
My sister's supporting. What's up?
There you go. You got a fan, man.
Right on. Thank you. Anyway, okay. It was not meant for them to have a career out of it. Now, excelling and making a career out of excelling and still doing things for the people, that's one thing. But it was not meant for you to have really more than 20 years in Congress. Actually, I think if you haven't done anything in 12, as a senator, you need to go, period. Now, I do get, okay, there are rules of the Senate and stuff. You can teach that from outside the Senate, to be honest. You can teach what those archaic rules are and how to technically use them. But at the same time, there are people, like Chris said, they're lining their pockets, and they're not right. And to be honest, they're going to get judged for it one day, because you're mismanaging people's money and ruining people's lives. So the old ones need to get out the way. That doesn't mean we're not supposed to learn something from them and learn something from their mistakes. And I said two things in that statement. We have to learn from them, because this is the only country in the world where we throw away old people. It's not supposed to be like that. You know why they're successful in China? They learn from old folks. We need to learn from them, and we need to learn from their mistakes and how we get better, because each generation, and I study history, so I know this. Each generation sees new light. Each generation sees something different. So if we can learn what needs to be learned from the old folks, learn how to fix those mistakes, and come up with something new that works, that works for the common man, that works, I think the GOP and America will be better off from it.
I think the GOP's got some good ground to make here. But the Dems are still out of touch with the everyday working people. There's a good chance for some of these unions that would actually hop on the Republican conservative wagon if they knew that they were being looked after. And that's in regards to trade. And my big thing here is I'm totally a free market person, but we got to put our people here first. And that's where I differentiate with a lot of different people on. And people say, that's just a talking point. That's just, well, no, I don't think it's just a talking point. I think it's real reality that can be put into action. You know, just because it's a little bit cheaper to make steel overseas, you know, somewhere out there in Russia or in China, wherever it is, I think we should keep it here. You know, if our top priority isn't the people here in the state that the Constitution is meant to protect, which is our citizens, I don't know what we got going on as a party if we're not putting our own people first here in that sense. I think we got some good ground to make there with that. Big tech censorship, it's another big thing. I think we can make a lot of ground on it. But just taking the same approach that their private company can do what they want is falling on deaf ears now, and it's not working anymore. Because in that sense, it's literally the liberal elite shutting out everybody else differentiating opinion. And what I think it's going to turn into is a corporate America takeover. That's just me. Not so much worried about the socialists or this and that, because those people are just going to take handouts from corporations and get their money's worth and just let them run whatever they want to. And you're going to see some big time takeover. But now that's just what I think is happening. I think what needs to take place. I think Senator Josh Hawley's taking a good approach on this stuff. I like what I'm seeing from him. I wish a lot of more people would follow suit, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I can agree with that, honestly. I think that I think we just need to see some positive change. We need to see something happen to really remotivate people. Like Christian, like you said, the people do not believe in the system right now. They just think that it's rigged. There's so many people that think it's rigged, and honestly, if it was rigged or not, like it kind of hurt us in the end. Saying it was rigged, we made no progress in making the election more like increasing election integrity. We made no progress with that, and we just lost everything. So yeah, if it was stolen and the election was fraudulent, then we need to fix that. But just all the talk that we've been talking about since November, since the election, now you see where it's kind of taken us, because look where we are now as a party. We are in shambles, and hopefully we can come back from this 2022. Hopefully we at least can take the House, maybe win some seats there. I think that it's completely possible, because usually that's what kind of happens in the midterm election after the president is elected. Usually more lower offices are won by the opposing party. So I'm pretty hopeful. And I'm going to say it again for about the 19th time on this podcast. Run for office, please, because we need young, fresh, conservative faces. We don't need any more 75-year-old people in Congress. I'm from Michigan. We are very used to having people in Congress for 40 years. You have like John Conyers, the Dingles, Debbie Dingle, her husband, and then his father. It's been like 95 years of Dingles in Michigan. I mean, I don't know what's up with my state, but we just vote for the same people over and over again. Conyers wasn't ousted until he was touching his aide. It's ridiculous. Stop voting for the same people who don't do anything but collect a paycheck. I'm gonna just say that. Run for office. We want you in there.
Omar, you got a minute. Let's get it.
Folks, I'm going to be honest. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like what I'm seeing from both sides. It's not going to be a quick process to try to come together and heal. At some point, we're going to have to do it, because either we're going to rip this nation apart or we're going to heal. But don't come to me screaming unity when you have called me Uncle Tom for the past 4 years, which people have, and I'm sick of it. But do I think we need to heal? Obviously so. How do we go about it? I don't know, but it's not going to happen quick. And don't blame me for saying I know I don't want to heal quick. No, they need to feel it.
Just at a minute. Wow, look at that. Well, everybody, been a heck of a week. Rest up. We're back in action again next Friday. Thanks again for tuning in. We're always in need of sponsors, people to help. If you'd like to, feel free to contact any of us or our page here at Black Friday NFS. We're on every major platform, and we'd be happy to get that set up and for you to support us. So thank you so much. We'll see you next Friday.
Peace.
See ya.